Hello, hello, good morning, buenos dias. This is Christian Landaeta Torres introducing you to a very interesting musician, a very interesting composer that I just recently discovered. Thank you to Claudio for the recommendation. He was totally right that I should spend some time checking his work. And well, why don't you introduce yourself, Mister? And welcome to my channel.
So hello. I'm Noah Vanden Abeele. I live in Brussels. I'm a Brussels pianist. I'm composer, and so I consider
Yeah,
myself as a professional musician. And
okay.
I went to conservatory. I have my master's degree piano, and I like to improvise. And from this improvisations, everything started. I started to compose music, and
Mhm,
I did my debut album in 2018. And since then, my adventure began,
mhm.
and so today I'm here sitting with you.
Yeah, that's a great thing. Thanks for the time. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks to you.
It's not very usual that not all the time you get the chance to contact and find and get to talk to people directly. So thanks a lot. I have many questions. So let's see if we can share these issues about your history or story or career.
Mhm.
I was going to ask you, Noah, you were trained, as far as I know, you were trained formally in the classical discipline, but your interests always went beyond the rules. It seems that you prefer leaving maybe a little bit too much discipline aside.
Indeed, yeah.
Uh,
So everything started, of course, when I was a child. My grandparents had a piano, and when I went there, I liked to play. I couldn't I couldn't not touch that piano, and so nobody else was playing, and they gave that piano to me. And so when this piano came at home, it was like a big present, pure joy for me. And intuitively, I started to discover that piano and to improvise. In fact, it was very basic, but it was the beginning of improvisation.
did you ever get? Did you ever have access to other instruments like
Mm,
guitars or?
yeah, and sometimes my mother also gave me like a harmonica, or do we
Ah,
call it harmonica?
yeah.
And guitar, but it's very strange. I really feel a connection with piano. I remember when I was at the conservatory, when they say piano, it's like a bit like they say my name, like wow, piano. Yeah, I have like a really very attraction to the piano,
Mhm.
and so I like very much improvisation. But then I went to music academy here in my
Uh,
in my where I lived, and in the beginning, I of course improvise is like pure joy. You don't have to
yeah.
practice, you just discover. And when I had to read this notes and to
Uh-huh.
practice, I didn't like this so much as a child. And so it went with up and down. And it was only like when I was 17 that I really realized, yeah, I want to be a professional musician.
Uh-huh.
And from there on, I really started to work very hard,
Were you ever?
because
Yeah, yeah,
you can have talent, but without practicing,
yeah,
the practicing is the most important. You really
yeah.
have to work a lot, and that's yeah.
Were you
That's
ever, I was going to ask you if you were ever in some way a spoiled child, like you did what you wanted, so you didn't want too many rules.
I have now I realize I have like I hadn't have the most common
Uh-huh,
parents. I had parents. I wasn't spoiled at all, because I don't come from a
uh-huh,
privileged family. My
uh-huh,
We didn't have a lot of money at home, and there was no we
uh-huh,
didn't make like big trips and so. But my parents let me completely free, and but I was like quite self-disciplined child. Also on the school, I when I was child, when I
uh-huh.
was adolescent, it's changed. but
I
but
imagine.
I had quite a discipline, and the freedom that my parents gave me I realize now was very important for my evolution, because if they hadn't given me that freedom, like they never taught me to do that, they never taught me to practice piano and or anything.
Yeah.
And because of that, I just made my own way. And sometimes I later, when I started my studies at the conservatory, I saw that some colleagues were, of course, on technical.
Mm-hmm.
They were
Training.
like advanced, yeah, training, because they had like they did like they had or they had parents who did music, and but I really had to work a lot to develop my technique and all these
Mm-hmm.
all the things you need to have. But I wasn't, no, I wasn't spoiled at all. And when I when I wanted to go to conservatory, when I realized I wanted to be a professional musician, it wasn't easy because my family, my parents divorced. It was just the moment my parents divorced, and everything fell apart. It was
Yeah.
completely chaos. Everything was everyone was free on his own, and I had really to fight. It was quite tough. But
Uh-huh.
when I want something, I keep going, and
Uh-huh.
finally I was lucky. I could do what I wanted to do, and I went to Brussels. I went to look for a room, and I found an agreement with my father to so that he supported me a little bit for my studies, and I got a scholarship. I also give private piano lessons, and with that I could do my studies, and I'm very happy. It
And you
was
say you
tough.
got. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was tough, but in the end, I'm very happy, and I'm even more happy I had to go through all this,
I
because
understand.
it makes you really richer. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that sometimes when things are harder, you become stronger, and difficult things makes you strong. Maybe you're a Taurus. What sign are you? Because I'm a little bit like you. I go for it, and I go, and I don't stop until I get things. So that's kind of why we are talking today. Well, it wasn't
oh,
difficult to reach you, but it's always good to fight and not get things for free. To make your own
yeah,
way. Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, Noah, do you teach? Do you teach music by any chance? Or
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
you
teach
do?
in
Ah,
a music academy.
okay.
Yeah,
And if so,
I
if you
like.
teach, yeah? No,
Yeah,
I
yes,
was going to say, sorry, if you teach, what can be taught and what must come from within each apprentice? Because you can certainly teach technique, but can you teach how to write? Or how much freedom and rules can an accomplished player and composer take or accept? It happened to you. You were not too attracted by too many rules. You wanted
yeah.
to take your own way. So how do you face this dilemma in teaching?
The thing is, in the classical, I teach classical piano, huh?
Mhm.
And in our classical teaching system, that's what I see here in Belgium, and I think a bit everywhere. Everywhere we are trained to become really like virtuoso musicians, and I find that often of the time the the creative, like making music yourself, is like almost completely neglected.
Mhm.
And I remember also my teacher at the conservatory, he told me that he couldn't improvise. I was like, and he said, on one way I'm here, and on the other side I'm like really here. And
Uh-huh.
and and I it takes a lot more effort to and it's easy when you teach to put a book and play this, and you have to do this, but it's so important to stimulate the creativity of the students, because it's developing something completely else in your brain, in your system. Because you when you compose, and when I improvise, I'm training my memory, my hearing, my everything. And also I'm much more free, physical.
Mhm.
I can
Mhm.
concentrate more on my body,
Yeah.
how I feel. And because when a lot of time students, when they play piano, they read the notes, and they are not listening to what they are doing, you see. And in fact, music is a language, and you should, like in jazz, they really, in the past, they really learned from just hearing, and I know that a lot of great musicians couldn't even read the notes. So.
But do you think there's a time, like a limit, a time limit, when you realize this student is going to do well and this other one has maybe has no certain future in this career he's trying to take, to develop, or do you always go whatever it takes to the end? Because I teach also, I teach English. So you realize that when there are possibilities and when there are few possibilities, so that those must be difficult situations sometimes for a teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, you almost see that from the beginning when you teach. Like after two or three lessons, yeah, this one. I mean, this won't become a professional pianist. But sometimes some students are surprising you. Sometimes, like 7 years or is a bit too young, and when they are 8, suddenly something happens and they can. But unfortunately, we are not. We don't all get the same. We are not all the same, and you see
Absolutely.
a lot of big differences.
Yes.
Also, motorics. Some children are the. So I have I'm teaching already quite a long time, and maybe I could say from only three students that they could become professional musicians. It's not a lot,
no,
but they didn't work enough. They should work. So
yeah. Well, sometimes or most of the times there's a lot of personal history, like family situation. Everything that happens to everyone during the day can affect your performance and the inspiration and the capacities. So yeah, it's a different case in every person. Have you ever considered, Noah, forming a band? What are the pros and cons of this working with more people? Because I know you also solo piano. Most of your albums have been solo piano with some electronics, but not with other people. Yeah.
Yeah, it was with my first album was with other people. It was with 5 string players, and it was also quite difficult, quite a challenge, because I knew a lot of musicians, but you have to find the good musicians who feel your music, because it's not because they play very good that they feel your music. And of course you can give them directions, but if they don't get the essence of what you want to say, then it's very hard. And sometimes I found very good players, but on personal, it was not always some egos, and so it was not always easy to deal with.
Yeah.
So it's quite a challenge, but here I was very lucky. My second album was also with string players, and I found very good musicians who were very nice and very helpful, because it was also quite a challenge because of when you're so many people. We are 6 on stage and 1 sound engineer. This is quite an expensive project, and you want to sell it, you can sometimes you have to make a compromise and to make everybody happy, and you need to find people who want to go with you with your adventure, and but I found very nice people, and I think I will go on with them. But now my last album is solo.
Solo, yeah.
And that's so much. When I got now a concert that's come, it's like, wow, I don't have to arrange any rehearsal. I don't have to ask, can you play? Are you free? I just can say, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, and you've done very well. The new album has done very well. It has received very good reviews. So I suppose that makes you wonder what's next. I mean, if this was good and people liked it and the critics liked it, what can you do next without getting away from what you already did, but not repeating yourself? That must be a dilemma as a composer. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you should. I even try not to read the reviews I get
Ah.
because I get my girlfriend reads them. I said if I want to read the good reviews, I will also have to read the bad reviews, and
Yeah.
and mostly it's only one person who writes this, and they
Yeah.
speak like we found it good, we found it bad, or something. And sometimes you have like you play on the festival, and one person said, "Oh, it was so great," and another person said like the review, "Oh, it was like blah, blah."
Okay.
So I I think to stay free in your composing, you should try to just skip that and say for yourself, I want the most important. I want to make something that's true to myself. That's my story. That's what I want to tell. And that's not always easy because, of course, you're human, and when you see that something has success, you think, oh, maybe I should do something. This had
Yes.
success.
Yes.
Because of course
Yeah.
it's also you're musicians, but it's also a bit commercial. You have to sell your
Exactly.
music and sell
Yeah.
your content.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah. Um, uh, as a teenager, you probably used to listen to or still listen to some other genres, far from quiet instrumental music, which is what I perceive your music like. You are introspective. Maybe it's not the right word, but your music is so quiet and it allows you to go to other worlds in a good sense. What were you listening to before you started making your own music? Or maybe you're still
Yeah,
listening, yeah?
I think people would really surprise when
Uh-huh.
they knew what I was listening to. It was like sometimes so very heavy, but
Ozzy
I
Osbourne. No,
I,
rest in peace. No,
I
Black
listen
Sabbath.
to I listen to like from metal to
Oh, you did?
techno. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah, yeah.
ah,
Because it
ah,
I looked for the quite for the extremes. It was when I was adolescent. It was like, yeah, of course, it's an expression of for
yeah,
your feelings, and
yeah,
it was also I had like a quite um, heavy adolescence.
yeah,
It was like a typical
yeah.
adolescent
I
who went to
understand that. Yeah,
who had a bit bad friends, and so and so we were
tough
influencing
friends,
each other.
tough friends, drinking
Tough
beer.
friends.
All yeah, yeah. There's
And
a very interesting band, Noah from Belgium, which is called Universero, if that sounds okay in French, and it's very obscure. It's like industrial symphonics. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but there's a big list of bands from Belgium. And are there any heavy metal bands from where you are from, or any popular bands these days? A couple that you would point out?
I must admit, what I'm listening to now, I don't listen to metal anymore now,
Okay,
because I now I'm looking more for it wouldn't be. I
yeah.
think my girlfriend wouldn't be happy, and also for myself, it wouldn't be. I'm looking for more quiet, but we have a very good bands in Belgium, yeah, of course.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm very. I like to listen to Tamino. I don't know if you know it.
Uh,
He's a very he has a very nice voice, but it's not metal at all. It's like more an indie guy with a guitarist.
any prog
And
bands? Any prog bands from Belgium these days? Any interesting progressive bands? Or you're not into
it's
progressive rock?
a progressive rock here in Belgium. I couldn't
No?
I couldn't name one. No,
Okay, okay. Yeah, okay. So you were
but
listening to very. Mhm.
I'm a big fan of like Tom York from the Radiohead, and I like it's very broad when I listen. Also, Brett Naldo, the pianist, jazz pianist, and but yeah, here in Belgium we have like very good musicians too,
And,
like Noah Vanden Abeele, you know. I'm
yeah,
joking.
yeah, yeah. He's exceptional. He really is. Would you point out one album because I was never hooked to Radiohead when they were at the peak in the peak in the and during the MTV years and all that. I did pick one track from their first album, Blow Up, and then I took a long time to discover OK Computer, which I thought was
Yeah,
brilliant when it came out in '97. And then I fell in love with songs like Let Down, and well, most of the songs on that album are brilliant. but they started changing. They became very electronic. So
Yeah.
they've had a like a curve in their creative line. So what do you prefer? The initial Radiohead? Have you followed them till these days? Because they really changed. They
Yeah.
have several, yeah.
Of course, I became fan with OK Computer, huh?
Ah,
And it was like from when I in the 90s, 1997 or something like
97,
that.
yes.
Yep. And I really liked it, and I really liked how they just he didn't care, like he made an evolution, and he just is doing what he wants to do, and he follows like his feeling, and he goes more to electronic now, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the last album, what is the name? I don't remember the name.
I
But
don't even remember either.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I
but
mean. Uh-huh.
I listened to it quite a lot, and in the beginning I was like, and how more I listened, how more I was like, wow, that's really good. And now I would more listen to his last album than his
Solo
first.
album?
Also, I also listened to Tom York. His
Yeah.
solo music
Mm-hmm.
itself is very, very
Yeah.
good. Like Amnesiac, I think Amnesiac.
Yeah.
Very nice. It brings me in a very good atmosphere.
Yeah.
I also like to listen to, I don't know if you know John Hopkins. John Hopkins, yeah.
Not
John
sure. No.
Hopkins, more electronic, and
Okay.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian Eno, I'm a very big fan also.
Yeah, sure. He has a long story in discography. Uh-huh. Now, do you picture yourself, Noah, writing extended forms of music like a concerto, or even, I know you have a connection that I would like to talk about later, but for example, a film soundtrack or a musical, or you wouldn't want to be involved in such a big scale project? I'm
I
curious.
yeah. I think I'd like to write for a film soundtrack. If I had the opportunity, I think I would like to do it, but it's like I feel I still have to grow first myself and to make like a good basic, because I'm writing music quite intuitively, and I still have to
Settle down. Yeah.
explore like how to write, especially for strings and all that, because I'm not a string player, and when I write for them, I have to ask them and vibrato
Okay.
and all those things. How do we do that? And but if a concerto, I don't think I would write a concerto, because maybe, but in fact, what I did with my first album was, yeah, you could call it chamber music. It was like one piano and 5 strings, but it's maybe just because concerto sounds like classical term, you know. and I don't consider myself as a classical pianist, but yeah, it
Yeah.
could maybe a piano and a whole orchestra could be
But
great, you know.
don't forget that there are some famous concerto format records made by some heavy metal stars like the late John Lord. He made 3 symphonic albums that are really, to me, amazing. Windows, one of them, Gemini Suite is the other. And even, I don't know if you are familiar with Joe Jackson, the singer. He's a pop singer from the 80s, late 70s, and he's really been dealing with some amazing formats. He made records like Night Music and other records that are really symphonic in character without leaving his track of being a pop composer. So
Yeah,
it's like an interesting combination. Yeah, that was the origin of
yeah,
my question. Now
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, sure, yeah, sure. I'm sure it. Maybe I'll do that. It can be really great.
Yeah, imagine
Yeah.
Noah's concerto would be interesting. You have kept, Noah, an interesting relationship with the Royal Film Archive Cinematheque in Brussels.
Yeah.
Could you tell me about that a bit? I hear you play live to the image of films like in the old times. How did it
Yeah.
come about? Yeah, how did it happen?
So it was like 13 years. Yeah, it's already 13 years that I played there. I on already like more than 600 movies, and it's like I see it like a hobby. It's like I just it's like I go, I improvise. I don't watch the movies before, and it's like a big laboratory
Mm, mm,
where I explore all kind of ideas and people. A lot of it's like not mainstream, of course, silent movie, but they're so great movies, and it's so nice to play on so beautiful movies. Yeah, tell
Do you
me.
remember any of them? Because I'm curious. Movies from everywhere in the
Yeah,
world.
of course. When you like Myrno, Sunrise is such a nice movie, and then you also have the Russian movies like from Eisenstein,
Yeah,
Potemkin. These are all the classic movies, or Metropolis from Fritz Lang.
yeah.
And when you have such strong movies, you it goes like by itself. It's really
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
like the movie is so strong that you just have to
Yeah.
play
An
and it
easy,
goes like
an
by itself.
easy, an easy field to harvest, to plants and yeah. I understand that. Did you ever play to Metropolis?
Yeah,
Have you?
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. Like 2 or 3 times I did this one. Yeah, it's great, really great movies, and it's you because it's improvisation. You don't know what will happen, and it's also depends on your mood. If you're tired,
Exactly.
how do you
Yeah,
feel?
yeah.
And sometimes it happens you can come in like something a magical moment like you don't think and you're just in connection with the movie and you feel also the public and such special moments can happen that I feel
Yeah.
like I have the audience in my
It's
fingers.
it's like
Yeah,
is that like an electricity flowing in the room?
yeah,
Uh,
movies.
so do you mean that if
It's
you
like
play
I'm playing in the movie.
exactly?
It's for me.
Yeah, you
It feels like I'm in the movie, like playing
yeah.
with them.
Well,
Yeah.
you have in the piano is a voice among all the other characters' voices, if they had a voice, so to speak, I guess. But the question is, if you play three times to Metropolis, then it means that you've had three different scores, so to speak. Have you ever recorded any of them or any other movies you play for? Two?
I know, yeah, once very long time, but in fact at Cinematheque we are not allowed to record because it's like they don't pay like
Copyright?
copyrights, yeah, and
Uh,
so we have to improvise because it should be inexistent music, otherwise they have
oh,
to pay copyrights. But even when I would record, it wouldn't make any influence because I wouldn't listen back to it because I know next time would be something different,
I
and
understand.
I always searching for to do something different. Like yeah, in the
And how
beginning I
we?
was like
Uh-huh,
more cliche, like but sometimes you can go against the movement, and that's so strong also
I
to
understand.
play very slow on a very fast scene and so on.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, some people in Italy do that. I know, and I'm a big fan of the band Goblin, and also Fabio Frizzi, who scored the movies of Lucio Fulci, many zombie movies I don't like really, but the music is really amazing. And most of the times, it has nothing to do with what you see on the screen. It's like rock oriented, lots of synthesizers, and I don't know. It's a as it you say, go opposite to the action. Now going back to other questions I have, Noah, some of your work reminds me of some musicians I really admire. You maybe have listened to this music, uh, Philip Glass a little bit, but more Michael Nyman, who's been scoring lots of films of interesting directors. It's like this, I don't know, meditational mood you have
No,
with your
no.
music. Yeah. So what do you have any composers you followed in the
Oh,
piano, like pianist, or in the film genre?
yeah,
Or maybe.
I admire, of course, Philip Glass. It's
Uh-huh.
his whole language is so special. Very, you hear from the beginning that's Philip Glass. I even went once to see his opera. It was really great.
Uh-huh.
Michael Nyman, I know a little bit, but I don't know too much. I know now his last work is like quite experimental, I think.
Yes. Yeah, I think
Um,
he became more popular when the movie The Piano came
piano, yeah,
out.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it got some awards and all that. Yes.
yeah. I know this
Mhm.
because some students of me want to play that, and
Ah, really? Ah, look at that. Yeah.
then
Uh,
I'm also a big fan of Max Richter. Maybe you know
of
him.
course. Yeah, fantastic. Yes.
He makes very nice music, and I also like, of course, Johan Johansson, Dustin O'Halloran, all these people. They are very good musicians. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh,
Niels Frahm I also like.
yes,
He's,
fantastic. Amazing.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah. How
And
well? Yeah,
yeah.
go ahead. Go
And I
ahead, please.
also I had the chance to play on Gent Jazz, a big festival, and Jan Tiersen. I don't know if you know him. He
Yes,
played.
yes.
He was the main act, and I only knew his music from Amélie Poulain. It was like Amélie Poulain. But on that concert, I really discovered his music and his piano playing, and he's so great, a really great musician, and really original. And yeah, I really like admire him. I admire him. I like
Yeah,
his music. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. He's really a good musician. How well, Noah, do you think the acoustic and the electronic approaches blend? Because what comes first? I've heard some of your pieces where you play both electronic and the piano, electronics on the piano. Do you first compose on the piano and then you try to, you know,
Uh,
you put the extra electronic stuff?
how does it come? It really depends. I have like no one strategy, but
Ah,
until now, most of the time it starts with improvising on the piano.
okay.
I start to improvise, and then I hear like it would be nice if I hear like when I'm playing on the piano, I already hear like a bass sound or something
Mm,
rhythmical, and I'm trying for that. But sometimes I had also a piece, Horus. It started with a sample I was exploring on my computer, and from that it finally became something totally completely different. But that piece came out, and it's like an adventure, and sometimes it comes like that, sometimes it comes like that, but mostly until now it starts from the piano. And I think maybe I should try what's different from nothing
st
and starting on the
starting from the electronic instruments.
yeah, maybe I should try
Yeah.
that, but I
Uh-huh.
still have my whole life to experiment. So
Yes, yes, yes. You should do. How does this? That might sound as a strange question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. How does silence inspire you, Noah? And what's the value of silence in your music, within your music? Uh, Sometimes composers leave a moment and then they continue. Um, I don't know if that could be called a resource or an effect. Do you give any value to?
of course,
Yeah,
silence is maybe is the most important, because without silence there wouldn't be music. But
exactly.
my music, there is not a lot of silence in my music until now. But when I play concerts, I'm much more aware of the silence. Like before before and after a piece, you have the silence, and you feel it's like you feel this silence like it's a weight. You feel like the silence in your hands around you. It's like you create like something you can't see, but you create something. It's very strange to describe.
Yeah,
And then it starts before your piece, and then you're playing your piece, and it starts after your piece, and then in that moment it's not a question of time, it's a question of atmosphere and the silence around. It's like you're making something, and around this there is a silence. And
like like the
is it clear
density.
what I want to tell?
No, it's like the density of the place. It's like it's difficult. Yeah, it's a strange question and
Yeah,
it can't be answered
but
like I think.
but
It's
but
complicated.
sometimes also you finish, and you have the silence, and you feel that the people is the audience is or listening to the silence. You feel them. You can make them listen to the silence because you're not finished, and then it's finished. And that's what I want to try sometimes. I always to teach my students, but I see they have to develop that, and sometimes difficult for them to perceive that. I also say, listen to the silence. You can just no, I'm not listening. But when you listen, you make the atmosphere, the space to create something. You open, then there is like the space to create something. But without this, that you couldn't create something.
How old are your oldest students? Because sometimes they might be a little bit anxious. The current day generation is a little bit anxious, I guess.
I have from 7 to like 60 years old or something.
60. Wow. Yeah. And this would be an interesting point. What are the advantages or the pros and cons of teaching very young children and adults, like in their 60s or the 50s? Do they follow? Well, I suppose if they are studying, they're going to be willing to follow your advice and your not command. But how difficult is it to teach older people? That's the question.
Yeah, well, of course, when you teach children, what's nice about children is, there are all the possibilities. They can become very good musicians. When they are adults, like it's very strange, but unfortunately, the motoric want is like we thinking too much. But I think I have adult students who are doing very well, and oftentimes it's also like almost therapeutical,
Sure.
It's like speaking about music and about try to listen, try to feel, and for them is, I think it's very important even when you're older to play music, because it brings you so much more than you would be aware of, and even if they don't play like if it is small pieces, we try to make something nice of it, and sometimes it's challenged because there are sometimes there's a lot of frustration because they know how it have to sound, and they feel, and then I have to play like the therapeutic and say you have to be patient with yourself, you shouldn't be too strict, and you see all these different characters who are like very strict and very stressed and very and oftentimes it's very very interesting. The character reflects always in the playing. Someone who is very tensed, the shoulder are tensed, and so someone who is quite heavy or so, they can be very loud, and
it's a challenge. Yeah, teaching is a challenge in every sense and in every field. Yeah.
Know it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, let me tell you about it. So where do you get the inspiration from when writing landscapes, films, personal life situations? I suppose most of them. I'm not a musician. I've never been in the situation of writing a piece of music, so I have no idea. I just enjoy what you do, and many other players too. So what makes you, this could be the reason for a new piece of music?
I think for me it's mostly unconsciously that's happening, but I see that when I went to like on holiday in the nature, when I come back I have like I feel inspired. Like for me, going it sounds maybe like cliche, but going to the nature really inspires me.
Sure.
And yeah. Oh.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm still here.
And what inspires me more? Sometimes I go to visit museums, but I couldn't say that this inspires me unconsciously probably, but I don't know. For me, mostly nature and yeah.
Yeah, I understand. It's an inner force, an inner, yeah,
Yeah,
something.
that's it.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Well, it's your other language, music and words, of course. Are any of your album, this is connected with the previous question. Uh, are any of your album concept albums, or are you used to creating a series of pieces and then you make a collection of them and then you decide this is good enough for an album, or do you have any of your albums were originated by some story maybe that was we go back to what we were talking about recently.
Well,
Um,
mostly when I write a new album, I start to writing. I really write a lot of pieces, and mostly I have material for two albums, and I make selection of what's
mhm,
what's
mhm,
what's the best. But like with my last album, it will come out on September 19, and it
wow,
will be a solo album, piano solo, and because I find it quite important to share that intimate relationship that I have with my instrument. And so I decided this time to only stick with piano and not
okay,
to incorporate the violin and so on. And for me, it's quite a bit a challenge because I feel a bit naked when
mhm,
it's only piano. It's
mhm,
like for me, it's like more easy to write with strings electronics, but I felt like I have to do a solo piano album. And of course, I was also a bit pushed first with because when I was asked to play alone on some venues who didn't have enough money and even enough space to have it all.
uh-huh, uh-huh,
And I thought like it's time, yeah, that's the time to make to come out with a solo album. And it's a bit like I say, a challenge. Like I hope people will like it when it's on the piano, but because it all started with piano and I have such an intimate relationship with that instrument, and I think so. That's it. And then my album before was with electronics.
yes.
Well, because I discovered electronics, I deepened myself in engineering, and that's why I did electronics. And my first album was only with strings because I had to start somewhere, and I didn't even know why I began to make an album. I didn't even have the plan to make like an album, and I just I was improvising already my whole life, and I said like I should write something down, and that then began the real work. It's much more difficult than improvising. Then you realize that the structure, the form, everything is so important. And next, I don't know what will come. I don't know.
I was going to ask you a question that comes from a very progressive rock-minded person, if you don't mind. And I grew up, like my teenage years were accompanied by Genesis, Pink Floyd, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Jethro Tull, King Crimson, mostly bands from Britain. Yes, of course, the band Yes, and they were impressive in the way they could create these long pieces that some critics call ridiculous and nonsense. But then I realized that they had a capacity of improvising and complementing what the others were doing. Uh, what's your longest piece? Because I had that remaining idea of the progressive rock of the 70s that you had 18, 15 minutes long pieces. Do you always create these albums with short pieces, like an average time, a duration? Um,
When I
like have
improvise, yeah,
yes.
when I improvise, sometimes I'm improvising like 45 minutes or 1 hour,
Okay,
like I just go on.
okay,
But when you write a piece, I think my longest piece is maybe 6 minutes or 7 minutes. I don't know.
okay, okay.
That's already long for now to be on streaming and so on.
It is.
You, you
Yeah.
you shouldn't care about that, and you should just make your music. But yeah,
Do you care? Do you care? Do you care?
yeah,
Is there anything that
of course, I care. I
I
care.
mean?
I mean, yeah, I mean, how to say? I know that if I would make a piece of like 30 minutes,
Mhm,
maybe it would work, maybe not, but I'm sure that if I would have that inspiration, I would do it. I
mhm.
it just didn't come up. Like Neil Schramm made like his last album, and Music for Animals was he had pieces like 30 minutes, and
Mhm, mhm.
sometimes it's a bit long, but it's nice. Yeah, it's like on the duration. But my pieces are quite constructed, quite like the
Structured.
rest, like,
Mhm,
yeah, with the structure like intro,
mhm.
climax, outro, and mostly is the piece itself who makes its time, and like I had also a piece Secret that was quite long. I don't remember. And I
Mhm.
was hesitating afterwards, like maybe I should have make it shorter. Maybe it's too long. I don't know. Yeah, sometimes you don't know. Yeah.
And what helps you decide finally?
Uh, Mostly I stick with the first idea, like the long piece. I for me was
Okay.
that's good, that's correct, that's like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
should keep it like that. But I was hesitating because I thought like maybe if I would have make it only that last part I should have leave away. Maybe that it would be played more on the radio, because I don't know if radio would be play. You'll see a lot of time like radio edit and the shorter version of the piece to be
Yes.
played on the radio, because they say, oh, 6 minutes, that's already long for the radio, and so sometimes you think about this, of course,
Are there any
but you should,
radios?
I think,
Yeah.
you should let the music speak for itself.
Of course.
That's right.
Now I was going to ask if there are any radio stations in Belgium, special shows. Uh, in Chile, most of them back in the 80s, when I was listening to radio a lot in the 70s, they were late night, not late, but 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Special music shows with the great bands of the so-called avant-garde, fusion jazz, whatever you want. Is your music being played on any stations or any special shows within your genre? Yes.
Yeah, I'm lucky. We have like Radio Clara is like the classical music. It's like the BBC
Okay.
BBC
Yes.
one or something. Um, it's played like on this on the national radio. We have also like the more general radio, Radio One is called. And sometimes I hear like from people your plate, I hear it you on the radio, and that's of course really great.
Mhm.
Um, so we are lucky that they give attention to Belgian composers also on the
Yes.
radio,
Yes.
because of course you to build up your audience, your people, you
Following. Yes.
is
Yeah.
quite also quite a medium important. Yeah.
You were mentioning some concert halls. I was going to mention again, my pronunciation might not be the right one, but the Concertgebouw, is that right?
Yeah, the
Uh,
Concertgebouw.
is not a concert hall for just average artists. My box of the Mahler Symphony, the Gustav Mahler symphonies, conducted by Bernard Haitink, are one example of the dimension there was to enter that place, or used to have. I don't know if things have changed, but I know that you've been playing there, and I don't know if it's these days a common place for new young musicians like yourself to play, because I related to classical music mostly. I didn't know that they were contemporary music concerts these days.
Yeah. It was incredible. I was so happy to play there.
Hmm, hmm.
It's of course it's like famous. It's a bit the Carnegie Hall from Europe.
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
my manager told me, yeah, you can play there, but it was not in the big hall. It was in, they have like a smaller hall, and they do like I it's like they give the opportunity. It was like quite in the beginning, and they give the opportunity to lesser known musicians to play there, and it was like in a small room, and I was so surprised because I'm not living in the Netherlands. I'm living in Brussels, and so I was thinking like, well, I'm playing in Amsterdam. Will anybody know me? Will anybody come? And it was full. I had like 120 people in the audience, and it was very, very, very great to play there. Yeah, I went there with my string players, but in that program also they sometimes also program like pop singers and so. So they are really. I think Concertgebouw is quite open to. I feel like they are open to not only classical, but like they have Hugh Beving, they have Ludovico Einaudi. The people from Netherlands are quite open-minded. I have the feeling more than in Belgium.
So have you ever considered going back to? You were born in the Netherlands, weren't you?
No. I was born in Belgium, in Brussels.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So are there any aspects of the Netherlands that are convenient for you as a musician, or it doesn't make a difference? So like you say, they are open-minded.
Yeah, but I like because they are much more direct in their way of communicating. When they just say what they think, and I'm also a bit like that. I like to say what I think, and also they have much more easy. They express their emotions much more easily. If they like something, they just say it. If they don't like, they don't say it. But it's a cultural difference.
Now, about recording, making records, you said that at the beginning you never had the idea of making a record, but you finally did. So how beneficial it is, or would it be to work with a big record company versus working independently as you've been doing lately?
How beneficial it would be to work with a big company?
Yeah.
I don't know because it I think it's the companies, it's about money finally. Yeah? They want to make money. That's the most important thing for them, and they have big. If you're a small artist and you work with a big company, will you will be the little fish with the big fishes, and what kind of attention will you have, and so on. I don't think it's always like the best thing to do to work with a big company.
Yeah, you probably have less freedom.
Yeah, and people and maybe you signed on a contract that you're stuck with them for your whole life. And it's so good now that the internet, it has all his good and bad sides, that it's much more available to everyone to come out with his music. It's less like the companies decide what people are listening to.
Yeah.
But I don't especially envy to go with a big company. No. I sometimes I see people who are with a big company and they are like, oh, it's like I feel like they took them and like, oh, yeah, difficult to say, but I'm not a very big fan of the big companies.
And how about, because you have this page on Bandcamp where people can find your music? And I see that you have you have CDs, physical records, and digital albums, yes?
And vinyl also.
Vinyl also. Wow, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's by the way, what's the record label?
Here is V2 Records. This one.
V2. Ah, V2.
Yeah. That's V2. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, just in case people are watching this conversation, they can find you on Bandcamp, or of course, you have your YouTube channel, and I think that's it. Yes. Bandcamp. How good?
I have a website. I have my socials, of course. You can see it on the right here.
Yeah.
Here you have all the information. Yeah. There you go.
Instagram, TikTok. Wow, you're a TikToker. Yeah, I think I've seen. Yeah.
I'm not so. I should be. I'm not a lot of on TikTok, but I started. I made an account and here under you can see my concerts, my upcoming concerts also. And so if you want to come to Belgium, welcome and
thank you. Yeah, you have noahvandenabeele.com just in case. That's where you find everything. Yeah, I think I've seen some short. I'm not sure if on Instagram. I think it was Instagram that I saw something with your cat. I think that we shared the love for animals, cats.
Yeah, I have two cats. I'm really fond of them. I like them so much.
Yeah,
I don't have children. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, they are very interesting animals. People think that they are selfish and independent, and they are, I think, completely wrong. They are very, they stick to you.
They give
They
so much
follow
love.
you. They do exactly. Yeah, that's one very specific feature. What advantages, Noah, do you find? I mean, apart from Bandcamp, where else can well, with the .com, with your site, with your personal site, there's everything. If they want to find out, to make contact, and to get your music, yeah. Is your music being sold in physical format in Belgium? If I go to a record shop, can I find your music there, or is it only this digital platform thing?
No. Normally, yeah, you can find it. It's distributed in shops and so. I didn't check, but you can find it physically as a CD and vinyl in shop.
And how easy?
Of course, from our days, I don't know. It's mainstream or listening. Not a lot of people are going to buy CDs anymore, and I think I'm selling the most when I play after a concert. Then I'm the most.
No, I was going to ask you, how easy or difficult is it to get a following these days in the literal ocean of names out there on the music platforms? Bandcamp, one of them. I sometimes ask my students, what are your favorite bands? Even worse, what is your favorite band? And they look at me as if I'm crazy, and they don't have a favorite band like I used to have when I was young, like 2 or 3 bands or whatever they were, 5. We had a very poor record industry in Chile, so we weren't really exposed to rock or progressive rock until later. But people have so much to choose from these days that it's difficult that they are going to have a strong following of a few artists. So how easy or is it to get the following these days? Well, of course, you have to play live. You should play live a lot and hopefully get played on the radio. How do you see this technology thing as the main way to promote your career?
Yeah, of course, it has his good and his bad sides. Huh? But we are like in a swipe culture. Huh? It should be fast, and like people are used to swipe, and a musician, you're swiped also. So you have to stay relevant, and you have to be there, and of course all this social media promotion, that's not the nicest thing to do as a musician, and you have to think, how should I be visible and so. But I of course I do it, and I make posts and about me, my music, my concerts. But maybe I'm a bit naive, but I continue to think like I should first of all try to make the best music I can. And I hear people sometimes they share their story with me about what my music is doing for them in their life, and that's really like the what you get back from that, and that's the most important, to make like a really personal connection with someone, that your music makes a really personal connection. But we are of course in an area that all those streaming platforms, all those playlist based music, I think it changed a lot. When we were young, we had like a few CDs at home and we really knew them by heart. But now it's like swiping, and even when I I have Spotify, and when I'm listening, sometimes I just put it on, and like the algorithms are choosing songs for me.
For
So
you.
strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, the algorithms, and then sometimes I hear, the special, and then I go to see who is this person, but yeah, so it has good things that it's made it accessible for so much people, and like I said, it's not only the record labels who decide anymore, but on the other side, you also you it's like your music have to catch from the beginning on, and I heard once Max Richter say, like, you don't have time to make like very long intros, because people don't take their time anymore to
get bored.
listen.
Yes. Yeah.
Swipe next, and so yeah, we have to deal with all that.
Yeah, I don't see it as a very positive element in music and the way it's being, in the way you have access to it today. But what you were talking about, that you have people writing to you or writing in your social networks, that your music is helping them or go through a crisis, or I'm sure that does touch you in a way and make you feel get some compromise in a way, which didn't happen at all in the music that was made in the 70s or 60s. I mean, people had no contact at all with the fans. If we were lucky, we got to see the faces of the people playing in a band. But these days, it's everything so direct, and it must have its ups and downs for you, the artist, as you were saying. That's interesting. Yeah,
it's interesting, but also of course you have to answer all these things, and you have to be there, and it's sometimes it's all those information and all those,
it's too much.
Yeah, it's like sometimes it's a challenge. It's I say sometimes, like, in the past they didn't have to do all these social things, and
yes
just could do their music, but it has good, less good sides.
Now, how often and what kind of places, these are some of my last questions, Noah. How often and what kind of places do you currently get to play live? Is it easy to find places apart from these unique opportunities like the Concertgebouw in the Netherlands, and special halls? You've been to jazz halls, I guess.
Jazz festival, big jazz festival here in Belgium. Mm-hmm. I was very lucky to play there. It's not easy. It's not easy because Belgium is a small country, and maybe it's everywhere like that. But now I'm releasing a new album in September.
Yes.
And I have there are already 3 concerts announced, but there are more coming on the way.
Okay.
And of course you can have concerts, but the most important is that you have people who comes to that concerts. Otherwise, if you don't have people that comes,
you have no concert next.
Yeah, that's it. But until now, it's going quite good, and I'm quite confident. But it's always an adventure, and you don't know how it will be. But I see my second album, I already had more audience than my first one, so I'm hopeful that my next one will grow, and I will have enjoy to play for them. That's what I really like to do.
But honestly, do you? I mean, it's not. I suppose that you don't get stressed with having to play live, but it has a little bit of that, because you have to take care. Maybe not you, but you have to make sure first, as you said, that to get enough people in the hall, people getting tickets, and the promotion has to be the right one. But what about the energy? How different is the energy of a studio when playing or writing, rehearsing or whatever, compared to live concerts? Yeah, I understand. I imagine.
I'm stressed. I'm stressed before I play, and I'm happy I'm stressed because you have this adrenaline, and that creates special moments.
Yeah.
Like I say, that makes your life special, and when sometimes the day of the concert you have like something like, oh come on, what am I doing myself? And before you have to go on stage, you say, oh, no, I don't want to go. But you feel this adrenaline, and that's such a good feeling. And sometimes I remember I played on a festival. It was a long time I played concerts, and I played for the audience, and I was thinking, wow, I like this so much. You forget yourself, and you forget the time, and the time is going so fast on stage, and all these things. And sometimes it's going better, and sometimes it's going lesser, and sometimes you're thinking, what am I doing here? And all these, your brain reacts quite strange
Random.
sometimes on adrenaline.
Random, yes. Yeah. And what's the age average of your audience? Young people, I mean, as your students, from young children to 60s, 50s?
Oh, not children, but I would say like maybe from 30s to older.
Yeah.
Not the younger people than on the classical concerts. I see, because I went a lot to classical concerts, and mostly the average people are a bit older there, and I have the feeling have a bit younger people.
maybe you also get some of the classical music fans, or people who listen to classical music.
I don't know.
Getting aware. No, about you.
I don't think my genre is not by pure classical. And I see that my genre is not is quite often like they have like classical, and they have like this Philip Glass. They don't know where to place it. Is it but some people like it, but I because it's quite simple sometimes what we are doing. Like sometimes you can make a piece with only 2 or 3 chords, but you shouldn't it's not the complexity that's count, is what you're telling.
Okay. Now, what are your plans? You said that this new record album coming out on September the 19th, which, by the way, is a special date in Chile. We have the National Day on September the 18th. Is the celebration of the independence, and we have only lots of people drinking at some special places called the Fondas, and celebrating like 4 days. So I was going to ask you, what are your plans besides the album, the new album, and the goals for the near and not so near future? That's my question.
Well, first of all, now I'm concentrating on playing my concerts and preparing for them, because playing concerts is quite different from recording. You have to make a coherent program, and after that, I'm already thinking about making new music, and I also like to deepen myself further in audio engineering. It's a new passion that came up, like all the recording stuff, and so to know a lot about it. I'm doing self-study about that, and just going on. I love music and keep playing piano and making music, making fun.
Are you in any way planning? Do you think there are chances to tour nearby, Italy? I don't know, whatever. Have you already done so?
To Amsterdam, I had the luck to go, but maybe now that I'm playing alone, there is maybe more chance. We'll see. Because when you're like 6 or 7 people, it's so expensive to tour. It's not easy at all, and I think the most important is, for maybe that's my point of view, but I think it should here in Belgium, like really first here grow my audience, and then maybe I don't especially look forward to tour a lot. I don't like to drive and to be in the bus, but of course I would like to play everywhere.
Yeah, and about the silence, I wish you can play in Japan someday, because they are so special and so well educated and respectful. that it's something is a culture that hasn't changed in many years, and it's something that I really admire. And sometimes I miss. I think about what you were saying. People these days are so much. They get everything fast. This TikTok and social networks are so fast and make them anxious. And there are places like Japan that I think that where audiences are really respectful and follow and go for that silence that you were talking about. So the last thing, Noah, give me a second.
Yeah.
This photo seems to have been taken some time ago. Isn't that, do you know this guy?
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
long time ago. It's like 7 years ago. Yeah.
Ah, not so long
That's
as I thought.
when I see I'm becoming old. I'm
Um,
becoming gray. Gray hair.
yeah, well, you can dye your hair. Here, this is Discogs, as you know, the worldwide atlas of records. And here
Yeah.
are your, in case people want to check this page, discogs.com, they just search for Noah Vanden Abeele, and they found Expanded Universe, Universe, and Horizon, and all the versions. So it's Munich Records, BV. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, my vinyl. I have also a vinyl of Horizon.
yeah.
He was appearing there. Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah. Okay.
Is it still available?
Normally,
Me-
yes. I think
Oh,
you can buy it on Bandcamp.
okay. How many copies do you usually press? I mean, do companies initially press?
I think from my CD it was like first 500, and then they had to press again. I was lucky; I sell them all.
Okay.
And from vinyl it was 300, I think, if I'm not
Ah,
wrong. Yeah.
okay, okay. Well, very interesting. Well, Noah, it's been a pleasure talking to you, meeting you. Thank you for the time, the interest, and for sharing your ideas about how you make music and your story. I hope that you really make your following bigger and bigger every day. I'm sure it will be like that. And I hope to be playing your music on my radio show. I have an online radio show on Sunday nights. So maybe we can agree on some how to access the music. And well, thank you for the time again. You've been very kind.
Thanks to you. Thanks to you.
Hmm.
Oh,
Okay.
bye.
Hope it's not
Thanks.
the last time. Maybe we can talk again when the new album is out.
That would be, yeah, with pleasure. Sure.
Okay. Uh-huh. Well, thanks a lot.
Okay. Bye bye.